you can now see my screen. Is it visible?
Yes,
And can you see me also?
yes, we can see.
Perfect. Thank you. So welcome everyone for this session called Improve Performance of Power Apps. In this session, we are going to talk more on the basics, different designs, and more on the Canvas apps only. However, some of the basics and the features that we are going to cover that will applicable for model-driven apps as well. All right, so let's begin. Myself, Keval Solanki, I am a software architect with Tieto India Private Limited. I am a speaker and having 14 years of experience in different Microsoft technologies, SharePoint, Power Platform, and Azure 365. I am a part of community member, Power Platform, as well as one of the organizer of this event. Okay, without this, wonderful sponsors, this event won't be that much interesting. So thanks Muhimbi, Rapid Circle, Hotfly, Panthera, and Econsoft for this event and supporting us. Okay, so in this session, guys, I can hear some of this noise. Can you please put it on mute?
Yeah, let me mute them.
Yeah, thank you. So here is our session agenda and why performance is important. Then we'll talk about some of the app design, uh, tools available by which we can measure the performance. We need to also know the limit. There are various tips and techniques that we're gonna cover. Here, I would like to emphasize that this some of the techniques and tricks actually I derived based on the experience, though is some of the basic, but it's very interesting to see. Yeah. Then followed by app settings and the Q&A session. So after this session, means you will get a good understanding what are the performance parameters that we need to consider, which tools we need to use. Yeah. All right. So let's begin with that. Just a second. Now I will move to the close. I will close this. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Going back to why performance is important. Let's begin. All right. Please wait. Okay. Generally, we don't want to see this kind of a screen often. So that's the reason we are looking for a performance. So user experience and engagement is very important to any of the application. Yeah. There are large customer adaptation is there in this Power Apps. If you have attended Donna Sarkar's keynote today morning, then she emphasized on different parameters, and one of them was 700% in the past year. That actually was the customer adaptation. So you can imagine the business value that is generating, and definitely as a developer, we need to work on the best performance of this application. There are, different app crash, which is also observed if we are not managing the performance very well. Then there are so much data is available on, the data sources. We need to get only we are interested, yeah, and how we can best use of that. So that is our agenda for today. Why the Power Apps is uh, and the performance of it. All right, starting with our app design. So whenever we are designing any of this application, design and architecture is very much important. We need to understand that how the data is flowing from our Canvas apps, from client applications, okay, and to the destination, which is our data part. Yeah, this is an example of how the data is flowing from client application Canvas to the data source in online data sources. So when we say the online, so it means some SharePoint, OneDrive, any of the Office 365 services, Azure services. So this is the example. Here you can see it's a client application which is making a OData request to the API. This is the Azure API management they are using, and there is a connector. So you heard about different connectors, yeah. And once it go through the connection, like the authentication, everything, so it will goes to the data sources. So if you observe, each and every steps or the layers is consuming some part of processing time. So if the layers is increased, your performance of the application will also, affected. So this is about online. And if we talk about the on-premises data gateway, so you can see, if we want to fetch any of the on-prem SQL data, right, or SharePoint on-prem data, then there is an extra layer which is introduced called data gateway, right? So here one more layer is introduced, and same way the processing time also will increase. So now if you see our, like for example, the total request time from requesting the data and getting the data will affect proportionally. All right, then this is a data flow diagram with Dataverse, or you can say the CDS. Here is our Canvas app, yeah, and this is the Dataverse. Dataverse, if you know, it is a native to any of the environment. So it is making direct request to the and that environment directly. So this is very important, or you can say the performance effective solution when you are going with Dataverse. So we recommend that your solution or your whatever the design you do, try to incorporate it, either your data to Dataverse. Example, if you are using a Dynamic 365, also you can go for the dual write. Definitely there are other parameters as well. And if you are working with Dynamics 365 FNO, then also try to use the virtual entity which will push your data to the Dataverse and then you consume it. Yeah. All right, then point number some next. Um, Many of the bottleneck actually that we observed is on this data sources level. So if you are example, you are dealing with some SharePoint sources, OneDrive sources, you need to optimize at a very good level so that your the application performance will be faster. If you're working with SQL instance, then you need to check for all like performance tuning from SQL side, like the deadlocking, like you are using the views and different kinds of things. So as we mentioned, there are like all the layers which affect the performance definitely, but this is like some of the most critical part that you need to work, which is like the data source. Yeah. Another important point when we are saying about the performance is the geographical distance. So as per the Microsoft, what they are recommending is like try to put the same you can say the region or the data source of a user where your data is there. So example, your data or data was data example in, if it is in an EU region, yeah, your user should be in EU region as well. Yeah, because if there is the distance is there because of this geographical distance, that will affect the networks, latency, even the packet loss can happen. So try to put them in a same geographical location. Another important point actually we observed when we are dealing with practical, you can say business users, they are not using the supported browsers or devices. So always try to find out the devices which is compatible with your Power Apps. Yeah, there is guidelines is available that you can refer, but this is also a small but very important topic while we are working with performance. All right, we talk about the performance design. Now we definitely work. Which are the tools or the techniques are there? How we can measure, the performance for Power Apps? Yeah. Okay. Let's start with that. The first is monitor. This monitor actually it's Microsoft provided tool again incorporated into the Power Apps Studio itself. So let's see where you can see that. Yeah. So if you go on your app screen, you can click on any of the app and then you will realize there is an option called monitor. So this is a one way where you can, see the monitor. Another is go to the advanced tool and open the monitor. So what does it monitor is that what it does actually. So monitor, it gives each and every, you can say click of your app. It will track all your request response with the duration, and it will also give the preview of your data as well. So what is coming in a response, that definitely we will see in action into our coming demo, right? Okay, going back again to the app checker. Yeah, app checker is also uh, the tool which is provided from Microsoft. Yeah, inside the studio itself, and you can see there is an option like this doctor icon. Yeah, guys, are you with me? Hello.
Yeah, we are
Okay,
perfect.
Yes.
all right, so thank you. So this is app checker where you can see different kinds of error warnings. There is different, you can say, the things that we need to correct as per the best practices, or you can say the recommendations. You can also see there are like runtimes errors. It's also incorporated, as well as accessibility issues. So this is what is the accessibility issue. For example, if some worker is working on your tab here, so it likes the tab index. You need to search which is the first control that the user will highlight. What is the second control? So this kind of UI related accessibility that is also considered under the app checker. So here it will give you some tips as well as the warnings if those are not set properly. Yeah. And again, last, where we are most of the interested is like the performance. If any kind of a performance issue is observed in your app, the Microsoft will also raise as a performance issue. Some delegation warnings also covered under this. Yeah. Going back to the next tool, which is analytics. This is also a wonderful tool actually that you can use. Yeah. So where you can see this tool. So if you go to the admin center, yeah, under the admin center, once you come over here under the analytics, there is an option called Power Apps. Yeah. There is you can say a tab called Service Performance where you can track which are
Though you
like,
are sharing your screen, but I can't see. I can see. We can see only your presentation. So you might need to share your desktop if you are sharing something on browser.
oh, okay, that's strange. Okay, then I missed some more part or what? Just a second. I will reshare. Yeah, will that be fine? But did you guys follow this my monitor, or should I go again?
No, Keval. No.
Oh shit. Yeah. All right, guys. So I think maybe I missed this. I just recap this. So the tools which we are, working, which is very important. So I just highlight this. Okay. Once you go to your app screen, yeah, you click on any of this. I will start with monitor. So this is a monitor option. Okay. Second way you can go, you can edit the app. You go to advanced settings. There is an option called open monitor. So this is the one way. Another way which we talk about app checker. So you can see there are like different formula level errors or warnings is visible. There are runtime errors are there. There are like some accessibility issue as I talked, and the performance issue. Yeah, clear. All right, then.
Hey, Keval, I have one question.
Yeah.
When you say the performance issue in the app checker, right?
Yeah.
What is the baselines? How they track it? I mean, like, is there any baseline that the call should take a minute or second, or this is the load it should take? Does it do any load test there and give us the performance, or it just consider the request for how we are performing it? How is this performance calculated? That's my question basically.
Yeah, performance generally there is no, you can say the baseline is set. The performance in this category actually it will give generally the delegation warnings. So if your app that will cover what is the delegation and how we can eliminate. So delegation warnings generally comes under the performance. Yeah, it will not say like how much time this request should become and how much minimum time this should be workable. That definitely depends on your app design. Your, you can say the requirement that for example this function should return in a 2 second or something, right?
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
But definitely we'll talk more on this after this call also if you guys are having any particular question regarding the performance. Yeah. All right, so going back to the this analytics. So if you go like in this admin center, in an admin center under the power apps there is an option called service performance. Yeah, so in this service performance you will see which is the list request or list performing request actually is there, what is like the throughput of this application, how many successful you can say the request that you made. If there is an error or there or not, then you can configure, sorry, not configure, but you can look from here. You can see there is an option called last 28 days, last 7 days also, or custom date. Yeah, then you can see another option also under this is users and location. So you can see which location your app is going to access, so that way you can check your geographical data. Users also, it will give some kind of a users, that how many total users are there, how many you know uh, daily active users are there. So that kind of a scenarios is covered under the.
Keval, are you there? Hello, Keval. Looks like there is some problem from Keval. Let me try to follow up.
Hello.
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Sorry guys, actually I got disconnected.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm back now, so sorry for that. And I was talking about this analytics and going back again to the presentation. So next is developer tools. So any of the browsers, yeah, like Chrome, we are having option called developer tools. I hope you guys can see my screen still. Yeah, can someone confirm?
Yes, yes. We can see the PPT.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, so now we covered tools. Definitely now we need to talk about the limits as well. Yeah, what kind of limitations are there when we are working with Canvas apps? So Microsoft is having this limitation called number of data connections. So when we talk about the data data connections, it says about data sources. So example, you are connecting to the SharePoint, OneDrive, etc. 30 is the max number that is suggested by Microsoft. You should not have the more than 30. The reason is that for each connection, it will prompt for a authentication, yeah, for user authentication, and also it will take some time for making that connection. So definitely this is you need to work when you are working with this. Then second one is number of controls. Microsoft is suggesting again that 500 is the max. Yeah, it's not hard limit, but still considering the performance, this is the controls that you need to use per app. Then there are like data row limits. Okay, the 500 is the default row limit when you are working with any of the data source. So when you, for example, go with any of your app advanced setting, there you can see the data row limit, which is 500. Same is applicable for delegation, that we'll talk later. Yeah, that you can increase up to 2000, but Microsoft again saying that you should not use that much, because again if you are increasing your data limit, so it will negatively impact your performance. So this you need to use very wisely. Yeah, and this is a last, but this is very interesting because the API request limit per user per 24 hours. Example, you are having this Power Apps per user plan, right? And as per this API request limit, you can make only 5000 limit in 24 hours per user. Yeah. So when we say what is the request limit, like, so whatever your app is making request to you, for example, the Dataverse or its custom connector or with Flow. So all those requests, every request is considered as a API request. This is very important topic. When you are working with any of the app, you need to understand how many calls your app is making, how many hours your app is gonna use. Definitely this limit we can increase. There is an capacity add-ons, but this is like the best limit set as per the license. User needs to purchase another license as a capacity add-on, and they can add. All right, going ahead with some tips and techniques. Right.
Before that, I just
Yeah.
do have two questions if I can ask.
Sure,
Can you
sure.
please just scroll to the data row limit slide?
Yeah.
So we are just seeing that it is a 2000. So I think if my requirement is of data is above the 2000, I think that in that case, Dataverse or the Power App should not be the best solution or the approach. Please correct if I'm wrong here.
No, that is not the case. Actually, it is a one time at a time you can fetch 2000 records. Actually, there is another way where you are having, for example, the 5000 items. Example, in SharePoint list, we are having like the 5000 limits per views, right? So that is like threshold we have set. So there is a different approach where you can make another query and return the next set of return.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do we have any limitation for the Dataverse tables also? Let's say in the SharePoint list we have 5000 as a threshold limit. It's a like a out of box threshold. So same thing do we have in the Dataverse also?
Yeah, it's a good question, but I'm really not sure what is the limitation for data. So if anyone can.
5000 is the limit even there.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Okay.
Dolly, we have the pagination. 5000 is limit, and with the pagination you can retrieve more records.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
that's good. Thank you.
More question. One more question about the admin center for the Power Apps that you show us the monitoring tab. So I can see that there we are just getting the monitoring details related to my environment, right? Where just you. So I think on the app basis I can show only on the monitor here. In the admin center I can just track or service my monitoring all the request details of all the environment, not the relevant tab, right?
Okay, so generally, when you say the environment, generally app is respective to this environment. Yeah.
Correct.
So example, this is my current environment. Yeah. So if you want to go for another monitoring, say for example in another app, so you switch the environment from here, and then you go for that particular app and go to the monitor. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks a lot for.
Got it?
But my question was,
Yeah.
in the admins, can you please just scroll to the admin
Mhm.
admin tab where you're
Admin
showing
tab.
the,
Okay.
yeah,
This one.
yeah, third one, yeah,
Okay. Okay. Now
yeah.
got it.
I
So here you can
think,
also an option of changing the environment. Yeah.
yeah, because I was just suspecting that all the app monitoring can also be seen in the admin, but here I can see only the environment specific, A
Yeah.
environment or the B
Environment
environment,
specific.
not of
Right.
the app specific. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Here is an option
thanks.
of selecting the environment, and then you can, provide different filters. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for the clarification, Kevin.
Perfect. Yes. Thank you. But thanks for asking actually, because this is also very much needed while we are. At least I can also relate if you are going with my flow or not. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Perfect. Coming to tips and techniques. So as I mentioned, there are like performance topic is very wide. If you consider only for the Dataverse, there is like the plenty of the topics are there. If you consider a SharePoint, there is like lot of things. But as a general practice, what we need to do, we will cover that. So first is the collections. I know many of you know. So the collections. Yeah. So what is the collection? Anyone?
Yeah, I think we can store the data, you can say,
Hmm.
from an Dataverse, and we can store in a local cache of the Power Apps, and it will run in the context of app. I think
Right.
up to my
Perfect.
understanding it is. Yeah.
That's perfect. Yeah, thank you. So it's not a Dataverse, but it's stored into your local memory of your app. Yeah. So it's nothing like a group of data or the array of the data. Yeah. And that remains throughout your application, which is a lifespan. And you can store the data and use in the collection. So let's see one. I prepared one demo, quick demo, where you can, see what kind of the exact scenario where this collection is useful. So here is my one of app where I have orders and products. So this is I stored in a gallery. So in this particular order, what I'm doing, I'm making a query to products, yeah, with the product code available in orders, and I'm trying to get the title, or you can say the product name of this application. So if you see, this is a gallery, and for each row, what it will do, it will make a query with current product code and fetch the product name, right? Okay. Now let's see how it looks in practice when we are saying in monitor. Okay, just a second. Yeah. Okay. So I'm not playing this app. So you will see the practical demo of this monitor as well. So as soon as you can see this, I loaded this app. There's already some event which occurred which I wrote on load screen. Yeah. If I press this button without collection, so um, that code we have written over here, like it will map uh, this product name which each and every order. So let's see in action. Yeah. So this data is loaded. Yeah. And if you see behind the scene, you notice there are like so many requests, like wherever this 200 requested get rows is mentioned, you can see it is making so much query to the products. Yeah. So this is like some kind of design issue that you should not use like the formula where you are querying each and every time for getting the product. So how we can replace this? So that we have into the screen number 3. So what we did inside this on visible, yeah, on visible, we are using this collection called collection products, and from the products table, we are storing everything to the collection as of now. And what we are doing here, yeah. So now instead of making, I just replace from products to collection. Everything is same. Yeah. Okay. Now just observe what I clean the result just to make you comfortable for how the request works. Okay. I'm again cleaning the data. Yeah. So with collection, so this will load over that particular screen. And now you see how many requests are done. Only one, right? Gate rows. So that we have done on visible screen. So this is you can say a very useful when you are dealing with this kind of a scenario. I hope you got my point. So instead of making other different requests, you can cache it to the current collection and use it. Next is concurrent function. Yeah.
We have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so you use this cool tool called Monitor, right? Where you monitor these two differences without collection and collection.
Yeah.
Now, can you just little bit brief about the other screen that you have it where you are monitoring? So if you know something in more detail about how we can use use monitor screen in a better way, because
Okay.
I saw you
Yeah.
have used this. So you just
Yeah.
probably spend some time here, and then I think that would be really helpful for us.
Sure. Yes, definitely. And okay, so this is as we said, monitor screen where you
How do
can
you open this first of all? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
no problem. So you go to any of the app where you want to monitor. Okay, there is the three dots, an option called monitor.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you. Sure.
Yeah. So once you open this, actually to save time, I already kept in memory, so I already opened for you guys. And
I know this is a
now
very silly question. We never know that
no,
there's
no,
an
no.
option.
Perfect. No, it's not. Nothing is silly. Yeah. I mean, that's why we are here. And I also tried to, put the content in such a way that means each users can get benefit. Yeah, definitely. Thanks for asking. Yeah. Now, for monitor, actually, it will give each and every event. Yeah. Example like when we load the screen, it will say the operation on which this is done. It will say the result. Yeah, the timing is very critical when we are talking about the performance, so you can monitor the time. Yeah, then which data source, if there is a data source is involved with this, then which data source is there, which is the control. Yeah, so if you have observed that own collection button, sorry, I didn't use this any naming convention for that, but you can see when I click that button one, yeah, it captured on select event. Yeah, and what happened after that, it was showing here. Yeah, now coming back to one of the requests, so you can see uh, there is a details of like the request as well as the response, so that you can capture which is kind of the request in JSON format as well as what is the data that we received into the response body as well. So all those things you can monitor. So like these are the orders that we have asked. Yeah. Okay. And here is the what is the response size. Yeah, in terms of megabytes. All right, then I think this is good enough. Definitely we'll cover more if we
No, it's
allow
really
time. But
nice.
yeah,
It's super awesome. I think this is very, I mean, we can relate this tool as a networking, debug tool in browser, many browser when you do a web request, right? So you can
yeah,
measure that network timings, you can disable some of the JS. So I think that's a really nice that my Power Apps is still giving these options for us to understand. Is there
yeah.
something that I'm doing bad to this app? Can I still improve, right? So this
Yes,
is really nice.
definitely.
It's a good
That's
screen,
good.
I would say.
That's good. Good to
Thanks.
know, guys. Yeah, no worries. Then use concurrent functions. So here I would like to emphasize that whatever the statement you have written in your app, actually it will go one by one. So whatever the statement you have written one, execute. Okay, then it will go to the second and it will execute like this, and it will goes to the third one. Yeah, it's a sequential. This function you can replace with the concurrent. You use the concurrent function provided in this Power Apps, and you can group together and put it like this. So you observe this is like the 3 requests which is going in a parallel, right? This is very useful feature when you're working with concurrent and the performance. All right. Another point would like to go with cross-screen references. What is the cross-screen references? Example, you are on screen 2 and you are referring to the something which is on screen 5. Yeah, which is not a good case actually in terms of performance, because what happens in Power Apps, if you are referring some another screen's data, yeah, the Power Apps try to load that into the memory, even though we didn't want to see that as of now. Yeah, we don't want to see, even sometimes the screen user might not go even to screen 5 anytime. Yeah, until unless necessary, and you are referring to the screen 5 data, so which is not good design point of view. So let's see also this in here. I put excuse me guy, can somebody please mute? Thank you. Okay, here is I am on screen 2. Yeah, okay. I'm referring this is just a dummy function that I have created, which is checking a screen 3 control. So DD order status, if you see, it is available on screen 3. Yeah, I am on screen 2 and I'm referring the control which is of screen 3. Yeah, let's see in practice what happens when you are referring this controls. Okay, just a second, it's loading. Why? Yeah, okay. So I'm doing nothing but this opening this screen into this monitor. Yeah. All right. You can see some of the screen steps already captured. However, now I'm pressing enter, so I will go to the screen 2, right? And behind the scene, what happens into the monitor? Let's see. Okay. Generally, it loads faster, but it also takes like a 5 seconds delay when some of the events is not captured. Okay. Here, monitor will also give the indication that something is wrong. It's saying the load dependent screen. You are referring screen 2 to screen 3. Yeah, this is called inefficient control references. Yeah, and this is definitely you should avoid, rather than if you are coming across such kind of a scenario, you try to use a excuse me, somebody can please mute. Yeah, thank you. So generally, if you come such kind of a scenario, then try to use the variable or global variables where or even collections. Okay, I think we still need to go far. Yeah. Another is use local cache to hold lookup data. So what is like lookup data? Some of the data actually you try to use it once. Example, if I'm interested in like user's name and department or some parameters, like so in this also example we are trying to look up or filter context, where I'm trying to use current user's email and finding what is the current user's data. Yeah, and from that user data also I'm trying to set a department. So if you are having this kind of a scenarios in your app, try to use in a global variable. So this is the one way, the set function in Power Apps where you can store in a global variable. So global variable will be available throughout your app. Yeah, it stays in your memory. So this is very useful, and I just wanted to also show into the one of my case. So example here also in my on visible. Yeah, I put like code this, and here I'm using the department. Okay, and same way on screen too also I can use this same department. So I don't need to repeat, same formula again and again onto different screens. Yeah, and that's how the second point also it's important, like we try to remove the same from multiple bases. One another example is like, for example, you are having the visibility control. If for example this condition is true, visible this. If this condition is true, visible this. Yeah, so avoid this kind of a scenario to have the better performance. All right, next point is a delegation, which is very um, hot topic for Power Apps.
Hey, a quick question, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I mean, so we talked about this collection and the cache. So might be a little silly, but any specific cache duration here, like, will cache for this much time? Because I mean, in the backend, if there is any update happening, so the latest data as such, so will it be taken automatically? I mean, will it be happening this behind the scenes as such, or the cache itself is having some sort of duration here?
No, actually, it's a good question. But in collection, actually, so for example, if there is a change in your order data source, right? So definitely you need to refresh that data source. There is a function called refresh. Get a fresh copy and store it into your collection.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you need to understand where your data source is going to be updated. Yeah. And
Okay,
accordingly, you store it again in your collections. So definitely there is some overhead is there, I know, but this is still manageable when we are working with this. Yeah, there are the advantages are more.
That's right. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Then.
Hello.
Yeah.
Am I audible? Yeah, actually, I am a bit new to these Power Apps. So can you please say what the lookup function does?
Lookup is like nothing but the filtering of the data. Yeah. So example, go to my orders and pick this order number. Yeah, it's something like this.
Okay, so it is somewhat similar to the group by function in SQL.
Not group by, actually, it's filtering, and it returns only the first data in a lookup. Yeah,
Okay.
very first record. Yeah, there is also difference between filter and lookup. So only it will fetch the first record. Yeah, but definitely, yeah, you can go in detail and you will understand more on the formula level. Okay, coming back to coming back to this screen. Delegation is very important when we are working with the Power Apps. This is very topic that every Power Apps developer needs to focus. Yeah. So what does it mean, the delegation? So delegation means you fetch the data from the data source where you are interested. Okay, there are plenty of the data is available, but you need to fetch only the required data which you are interested. So instead of delegation means instead of processing that data on your local Canvas app, you you query to the server and ask the data which you want. So that is that is called delegation. And in delegation, we need to consider this is the default limit which I mentioned, like the 500 in any of the um, Power Apps, Canvas app Power App setting is there. Yeah. Um, on the delegation front, we need to also understand that which are the data sources are there which supports this delegation. So which supports server side functions, which supports server side this kind of a manipulation. Yeah. So example, we are having CDS, SharePoint, SQL, that all supports, but Be cautious, understand which data source you are using, where your delegation will work or not. Yeah, this is definitely the high level points I'm giving, pointer you can say. Definitely you need to work on when you are actually dealing with this data. Also understand which are the delegable function and non-delegable function. Yeah, as I mentioned, filter, lookup, search, right? All that can be we can work with delegation. Some are like count, uh, if, then collect. Is are not the non-delegable function. I'm not going into the detail for what is like the difference between two, but just brief. So delegable functions means it will work while making your query. Yeah, non-delegable function, even if you supply, it will give the maximum result. So example, if the limit is 500, okay, if you are using the delegable function, if you are interested in only the 10 rows, it will return that 10 rows. But in case of non-delegable function, it will return all 500. Okay. And here is one example. So we talk about filter. Yeah, I know this topic is like little bit over, you can say, but just try to understand this delegation, because this is very important. You need to read on more on this. Yeah. Um, we talk about this filter that this is a delegable. Yeah, even though this is a delegable function, but example in this case, we are making this id, okay, comparing to 1 to 3. Yeah, here it mentioned this is delegable, but if you see the another which we are making id to 1 to 3 as a string, which is non-delegation. The reason is that in this example, SharePoint lists data source where we assume the id is numerical. Yeah? And that's how you need to give the comparison properly, then only your delegation function will work correctly. So this is also important feature. Even if you are working with delegable function, you need to provide the proper data. And with this app checker, yeah, and into editor, this will give you the delegation warnings as well. Yeah, if your function is not handled properly, so you will see the delegation warning something like this, and you need to correct. We'll not go into the detail. This is a vast topic, how we can remove the delegation warnings. All right, then one interesting topic when we are working with the performance again, which is on start and on visible. So what is the on start? As the name suggests, it loads only the first time when our app is loading. Yeah, so maximum performance issue, if you observe, this is the culprit. Okay, and this way actually you need to understand what are the functions which is actually required, which you will put on start event. So just giving an example what I mean. So this is a on start. Yeah, app on start function. Okay, you need to keep minimum thing when your app is going to start. Okay, so that it not block the UI. Instead of that, go for on visible. So this is definitely both are having pros and cons. So on visible also advantage side, it's a non-blocking. So example, your screen is loaded, then it will fetch the data and do the processing. Yeah, even though you have written the some function in on visible, so that way is good. Yeah, on visible. And another recommendation is that you use the mixture of that. So some of the function keep in on start and on visible. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot one point important, like on visible. So say for example, if you are on screen 1, moving to screen 2, and again coming back to the screen 1. So every time the user visits the screen 1, yeah, the on visible will fire. So this is again you need to handle smartly that which are the functions which is really required on visible to get the optimal user experience. All right, then another is enable delay output. So let's in practice what I mean. Okay, it's already false. Yeah, so this is the one screen where we are having this products. Yeah, just consider the left hand side screen where I'm searching something. Okay, A, P, P, something. Yeah. All right. So see, you just see, observe that with each keystroke, it's searching something and making a query to this data source. So instead of this, you need to set always delay output as a true for this text box control. So example, now the event will not fire once I stop something. I mean, user stops writing something, then only the event will trigger. So this way, you can handle reduce multiple queries to the same data source. Yeah, this is a very small but useful feature when you are dealing with this text input controls. Okay, then remove unused control or variables. Yeah, as I mentioned, you generally there is a developer practice to use the hidden control. Yeah, because but the every controls or like the variables, it will create an overhead. Each control will generate the DOM, HTML DOM, and it consume little bit, but still processing time for each. So remove all your unused control labels, variables from your app, and try to minimize even your controls. Yeah, some practice suggests that use the gallery controls instead of having the data controls, um, data cards. Yeah, all right, so I think still 5 minutes to go. Hmm. Another point, this is very important when we are working with the Power Apps settings. Okay, let's see what I mean. If I go into the setting and advanced settings, there is an option. Some of these features are called preview features, and when you are designing or working with this Canvas app, you need to enable the delay load. Yeah, so what happens with the delay load, or what doesn't happen when you are not enabling that? So if you say you have disabled, if you are having a 10 screen, all the screen will load immediately into your memory. Yeah, if you have not enabled this, so this will generate an excess data load on your app. So the recommendation is to enable this. Yeah, same time the another setting is which is more important is like more concurrent function, more reliable concurrent function, and you need to check or you can say you need to keep updated about these features actually when you are working. So see which are like the best suitable candidate feature for my app. You just trial some of the preview features are there, some of the experimental features are there. Yeah, but you need to do trial and error which is work best for your solution. But this I talk mainly on the performance point of view.
Quick question. Sorry.
Yeah.
Is there any way that we can actually, sort of control the screens? Like, for example, on start, only load these 3 screens. I mean, for example, in an app, if you have let's say 15 screens or so, is it possible to sort of, load screens partially, or
No.
or,
No. There is no, at least I don't know any other way where you can control. But generally, for example, there is a screen 4 is there. And to go to the screen 4, you have a control on screen 3. So until user go to the screen 3, he cannot move to the screen 4. So there is like the dependency that you can manage. Yeah. But no direct way where you can partially load. Yeah.
Or maybe another straightforward question. So generally, when a Power Apps loads on the DOM, will it actually load all the screens upfront, or will it?
That's I mentioned actually. So delay load, try to use the delayed load, and also there is
Right.
in guidelines that if you are having the more than 10 screen, use the delay load. But there is an exception that I am also going to take, like if you are having the rules. So rules, if you know, then it was a deprecated feature in a Power Apps. Earlier it was there with some condition, you trigger some kind of action, record action. So if you have used that rule feature in your app earlier, then there is the problem with there is a known issue with this delay load, but it is recommended to use this delay load.
Okay.
Yeah. Perfect. Then this is very last but not the least. I mean, you republish your app regularly. The reason I mean to say, Microsoft also internally does some kind of a performance tuning, patching, and different stuff. So this is very important to as a developer to republish your uh, apps. Okay, still we have like 4 minutes. Any questions? Any other questions or general comments regarding the performance?
Hey, Keval, I have one question.
Hello.
Firstly,
Yeah.
thanks for the session. It was very helpful. I have seen you cover. Can you hear me, Keval?
Yeah, right now I can hear. It's breaking sometime.
Okay. So my question is, you covered majorly on the Canvas apps, right?
Yes.
But does all these apply for the same for the model-driven apps, or do we have a similar, say, different set of operations or things we need to think when designing a model-driven app?
Yes, good points actually. Right now, at least some of the tools actually I say, those are applicable for model-driven apps as well. Earlier, monitor was not there, but now the monitor is there. Example. So I see there is like different. You can say the parameters are there that we can consider for model-driven app as well. Some of the basics that I covered, like the app design, same will be applicable for model-driven apps as well. Right? You need to understand the endpoints. You need to understand the layers and the flows. Same way, analytics is also available. Yeah. So some of definitely not all, but many of the you can say the things are still valid for Power Apps. Sorry, model-driven apps as well.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have just one question. Basically, can I just use the Power App in one requirement? I just use the connector to get all the data from the O365, right? So that time my Power Apps take you can say more than 1 minute to load. So I don't know what to happen with that connector, but do you experience same thing if you just provide make your Power Apps with any connector?
Yeah.
I experienced this performance issue.
Right.
Connect.
That's very much true. Yeah. Definitely, there is an issue with the connectors. So, may I know which connectors you have used?
I have used the normal O365 connector just to load all the users from my O365 in my Power App.
Yeah. Okay. So definitely, as I mentioned, if there is a connector, so you can say there is a the layer is introduced, there is authentication is introduced, there is the processing time is introduced, but definitely it should not be a more that. Yeah. Generally, I observed when I work with Dynamic 365 connectors, so which is a premium connector, so it was taking a time for connection itself. Yeah. So how you can test whether the problem is in connector or not? You can make a very simple app. Just do the refresh query to your data source. Yeah, nothing. I mean, just plain screen with one single button on it and make a refresh query. Refresh data source. That's it. And see where your time is consuming. Okay. With monitor or you can say developer tools.
Okay. I'll just take a look with them. Yeah. Thanks a lot for the clarification. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. No worries.
Thanks, Keval, for a wonderful session. We had a good Q&A. We have the next section upcoming, so please join the next section by Jasjeet. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you once again for everyone for your time and pleasure giving. You can don't forget to get feedback on this. This is a global power friend and Bean also the swags. They are giving like some exciting stuff. Thank you, everyone. Please join the